Hi, everybody. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you're having a great start of the year. I know this year has already started with major aspects at the start, and as I mentioned in the 2020 note that I put on the site as well as on the YouTube channel, this is a year when things will be sort of go right from day one. The pressure will be high from day one because this is a high power packed year. This is a year when a lot of things have to come to pass to create abundance for us, to create material manifestation for us. And right from the get go, this year will feel like we just have to make each day count. We have to make something productive out of each moment that we are being given. We have to be very focused to be able to sort of deliver things this year. Jupiter in Capricorn, which we have right now, it rewards growth to those who are focused, who have a plan, who are going in strategically, who are sort of conserving to some extent, in the sense that we are focusing our eyes on a specific prize versus getting more general about things, being specific about our goals, and going after certain specific material, high value, high material manifestation things this year would result in success, in growth, in material abundance, and long term powerful shifts in our life. And right at the start of this year, we are having two eclipses which are shaping the first 6 months of this year. On 10th of January, we have a very, very powerful lunar eclipse that is happening in the zodiac sign of Cancer at 20-degree Cancer. This is a power packed eclipse. It's an eclipse so strong that people have been feeling that from December itself. This is an eclipse full of emotions, full of feelings, full of compassion, full of motivation, full of feelings that need an outlet, that need a way to go. Moon in Cancer comes in opposition to the powerhouse of Saturn, Pluto, Mercury, Sun together in the ambitious sign of Capricorn. What do we want for our material abundance, and what motivates us from within come in clear opposition to each other as a part of this eclipse. Eclipse, lunar eclipse is a full moon, so sun and moon are opposite to each other. There's a clear wanting to balance two sides of us that come to surface, but because of it being an eclipse, there's a karmic element to it. There's an element of destiny involved with it that feels like our destiny calling to us. And in Cancer, the destiny usually calls to us through feelings, through domestic, protective, peaceful, quiet environment, through listening to our own self, through listening to our inner being, listening to what we are truly feeling from within, what our source, our inner being, our heart, our family, our home, our support system, our safety net is telling us where do we belong, where where is our destiny, what calls to us, what feels like us. And this is a very fast acting eclipse and it's a full moon, so manifestation of a result comes through, something comes to light, something comes to concrete, real manifestation, strong manifestation within the within 1 week to 4 week of this full moon, and even about a week before that some of you might have experienced it. In some astrological terms, it's called a weeping, crying, weeping full moon or eclipse. And cardinal signs like myself, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, if you have strong in your chart, the feeling function would be very strong. The watery function, it feels like a deeply personal full moon. Something is ripe for fruition, something is coming to result, something is coming to result that has been the topic of discussion that has been coming in for the last 1 year. And that comes to a clarity, to a conclusion, maybe with a little bit of twist with this full moon. Because this full moon has two elements to it. The moon is the nurturing, permissive parent who wants us to get what we feel we should get. And then there is an authoritative, domineering, realistic parent on the other side that wants us to get what would truly serve us well in long run. There are no bad choices, but there are two sides of us which are both part of us calling to us as a part of this full moon. It's the male archetype and the female archetype, and not going into feminism, and trying to change the archetype. The traditional feminine and male archetype are at fight with each other. The father and the mother, the moon and the sun, the emotions and the discipline or the responsibility, the compassion versus the righteousness, the emotion versus the caution and the practical, the habit versus the tradition or the rules, the subconscious impulses versus the will of discipline and ambition. They are in opposition to each other as a part of this full moon. It shows up, and it could show up as an external conflict because we have planets in opposition to each other as a part of this eclipse. Saturn, Pluto are meeting each other on 12th of January, and they're standing in opposition to this full moon. Mercury and Sun come together on 10th of January, and they are standing in opposition to this full moon. This is a full moon which has a push and a pull, but because of opposition, it can manifest itself in form of an external conflict, and our reaction to that external conflict will determine the success of this. There are positive manifestation, positive ways of dealing with that conflict, and our natural habitual instincts are challenged here, and we are told to to direct our instincts in a more powerful way than we have done before, because our emotional patterns are being changed forever. How we react to situations when our power is challenged, how we react to a situation when it feels like we have to be flexible, it's tested right now. It's tested to change our destiny forever, because when Saturn and Pluto come together, and they come together once in 34 years, the way we handle our power, the way we handle our resources, the way we handle our talents, how we make use of that, how we deliver that, how we bring that out to the surface shifts completely. There's a natural unfolding of responsible use of power that happens. You are structurally shifted in how you respond to authority, what kind of authority you are of your own life. That shifts with this conjunction, which happens once in 34 years. And we are starting a new cycle. This is not just a normal new year. It's starting with a new societal structure. It is starting with the rebirth of our society patterns, administrative patterns, political patterns, religious patterns. When Saturn and Pluto come together, that year is a year when history is made. When the long established religious, political, societal structures and belief systems are brought down and new ones are put in place, and same for our own life, a new structure is put in place, and that becomes the new cycle, the new theme, the new rules that we live by. This is a power that gives for the next at least 7 to 8 years, and it carries on in our life. And the aim of Saturn and Pluto is to re-engineer our emotional responses, our emotional conditioning, which it has been working on most of last year, making us feel strong from within, because it wants to give the power to the responsible. There's a redistribution of power globally that happens, and within our life that happens with this aspect. Who has the resources? Who has the influence? Who has the material abundance? Who has the wherewithal to take it to the next step? Saturn Pluto conjunction redistributes the resources in our society, and during this year, we'll see this progression of shift of power when it comes to countries, when it comes to administrations. There's a shift in who um, sort of, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, that is something that Pluto in Capricorn is teaching us, not to be ashamed of our own ambition, not to cower away from our own ambition. While the spiritual side of us, the nurturing side of us is given air, the ambitious side of us is also given its share. And Saturn Pluto together, it's a test of integrity and morality, but also of ambition. Who wants it more? Who desires it more? Who goes after, shows up to get it more? So Saturn Pluto shows up in the chart of influential and the rich. It shows up in Rockefeller, Murdoch, Gates, Saudi Arabia, the people who know how to create resources and know the and have the talent to keep it for long term. So we are given the skill set of doing that when these two come together. It's the chance to learn a skill set. It is a chance to learn economically how to make a resource and make it last, how to create an asset and make it last, how to create abundance and make it last. So, responsible use of power, whether it is you as a head of a group, you as authority of your own life, is a key lesson of Saturn Pluto. And we learn how to be authority of our life, to take the ownership of our life, to be the authority and not give our power away to somebody, having uh, owning our decisions, owning our life, and this opposition that is happening, the challenge that comes up, one of the typical combative responses, emotional responses of that is projection, blaming others. And we will see that coming through, blaming the government, blaming the system, blaming the rules, blaming the deficiencies in our administrative system. But we are told to take responsibility of our experience in this lifetime of our life, taking responsibility of how we are doing, how we are faring emotionally and in terms of our abundance here. And then we are given the tools to take it to the next level. The desire would be high this year to do well. The ambition would be high. We have huge amount of energy concentrated in earth signs. When that happens, that becomes the year of shifting our material reality. It becomes the year of changing where the resources sit, who makes money, who makes resources, which country is leading in GDP, which country has the most military power. And talking of military power, in second half of the year, Mars will be in Aries for 6 months. This is who has the power and who knows how to use it, who knows how to use their ambition. So it's sort of, there's a natural evolution of societal structure that comes, a reset of society that comes with it, a dismantling of long standing administrative construct and rules in our life. And they come not with a whole lot of warning, because Saturn and Pluto have been together most of last year. So typically it's a 2 year process, the society reset. The first year is sort of us preparing for it, which was 2019, and the second year is sort of the unfolding of it, unfolding of this dance, of this long term macro theme that is initiating for us, and the theme of our life, the new theme of our life that is initiating for us, where we discover who we truly are, we meet us. And this full moon, this eclipse, has a huge participation in introducing us, introducing us to our true strength, our original design, our reality, our inner being, our true authority of self. Are we reacting to life or we are living our own? Are we reacting to external impulses of other people, or are we strong enough in our emotional impulses to continue to do what we truly want to do? And this challenge, which could be in form of confrontation with authority or with strong-willed, powerful people, the positive manifestation of that is the tenacity to overcome the obstacles. Because when the water energy is so strong, which it would be with this Cancer full moon, the water has the energy, the emotional fortitude to shift the course of life, to push the limitations, finding a way, fluidity of response when hit with the rigidity of rule, hit with the rigidity of a limitation, hit with the rigidity of what others think is possible for you, the flexibility, and to some extent even compassion, which is too much to ask sometimes, for opposition that you're facing, compassion for the government, compassion for the rules, finding fluidity in this situation to pave a different path, is the positive manifestation of this full moon. Because Cancer is a water sign, it's a fluid sign. It knows how to take action, it knows how to change course in a different direction and take a meaningful, strong step in a direction when a different set of information is revealed to us. And information is a key element. Revelation of information is a key element of this full moon, of this eclipse, and new information will come up this month. From 10th of January, you'll see a set of information that we did not see before, because Mercury is also coming to its full form, which means that there was a set of information that we did not have before. From 11th of November, when Mercury was in retrograde state in last year, there is a seed that we planted. There is a start, experimental maybe, in nature, that we planted. From 11th of November to 10th of January, it was the phase of experimenting. Mercury has been in waxing form. When we're growing, we are growing, we are growing, we have a desire, we're finding ways, we are experimenting around it, we're trying to meet people to figure out how to make it true. It's the time of acting on instincts, excitement of freedom, time to test the untried. We have been in that phase from November till now, the experimental phase of Mercury, as it's called, not thinking of consequences, and it sort of revs up, revs up, revs up, revs up, and it reaches its maximum speed on 10th of January, when we have the full Mercury phase, full inspiration, full implication coming to surface, full results of what we have done so far. The seeds that were sown, the ideas that were experimented, new type of responses that we tested on. And Mercury will be opposing Earth. It will be at a longest distance from Earth, with Sun in between, on 10th of January. And that's when normally results of actions start coming in. We start seeing, like, let's mature these projects, these ideas, these actions. So there will be information that will come to surface that in the experimental phase we did not realize, because then after 10th of January it becomes the time to mature, the time to take responsibility, to sort of look back, to take the social responsibility of the global dialogues that people have had. So you will see more deliberation before initiation after 10th of January. You will see burst of creativity as sort of, are they tested against practicality after 10th of January. It's the time when we sort of want to complete things. We want to bring things to result, and things will start coming to surface as a result of that. What is the result of something that we did last year? Results of actions. Because as I mentioned in the New Year note as well, this is a year when the tone is set right at the start, what this year is supposed to be about. Because where the dominant energy is Capricorn, and I'm talking about not just as a zodiac sign, but as what Capricorn stands for. As a sign, Capricorn does not stand for wasting resources. It's about making it count. It's about making it worth it, making every minute worth it, every effort worth it. Everything has to result into something concrete. And so, right at the start, we are setting the tone. What is our path? What is the right way to get it? What are the tools I need? And then, like a horse with the blinkers, we go towards that. And this eclipse excites the feeling side of us to help us get there. It shows us how we can create a way when there is none that is visible right now, because we have the will for it, because within ourselves we feel motivated enough to go for it. If we are confused about which direction to take, it gives us the instincts to guide us towards what we need to go, because where we need to go, because moon is with north node here. We are being given something, we are being drawn to our destiny, we are being given results, whether they're positive or negative. Those results are being given because we are being shifted, pushed, prodded, directed, asked to be flexible enough to go to where the wave wants to take us, where our destiny wants to take us, where the destiny wants us to focus this year. This is a eclipse which has huge involvement of the mind. Mercury is sort of embedded, right, sitting right in the middle of this at a critical junction in this eclipse, and this eclipse dominates the first 6 months of the year. And this eclipse has mind as a critical element. And William James, who had the star that is involved in this eclipse, said so many quotes. All of his philosophy fits in so well with this eclipse. And if anybody is a fan of philosophy, I think reading his book would completely enlighten the path this year. His philosophy essentially said that if your belief has a cash value, and he called it cash value, if your belief has a cash value, then that's truth. Essentially, if your belief is serving you in some material way, it is benefiting your life in some material way, then that is the only truth. It's what Mercury involvement in this eclipse is teaching us. It is teaching us if there is a part of our psyche, as an attitude that serves us well, if there's a thought process, a way of thinking that serves us well, then that is the truth that we should carry forward. His famous quote, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human being can alter the course of their life, but just by just changing their attitude," is everything we need to know about this year. It's at the start of this year, it's asking us to purge the thought process, the noise that is coming from outside, the fake news, the going back and forth on the noise that is coming from within. This happened, this did not happen, this is reality, this is what is the reality that serves you, that strengthens your psyche instead of becoming a weakness in your psyche. What kind of thinking pattern makes you stronger than weaker? What do you need to purge? What kind of mindset, what kind of thinking, what kind of information that is coming your way that strengthens you instead of weakening you? That is what this Mercury involvement and this degree of Cancer is teaching us. 20 degree of Cancer in Samian astrology is represented as purging life of secret source of weakness, taking away this chink. This mind is usually the weakness that we have, because, for example, persistent pessimism leads to reduced immunity, for example. Again, William Blake said, "Be not afraid of life. Believe that life is worth living. And your life, this belief will help create a life that is worth living." He's asking us to create a cash value of our belief. If a belief is bringing you something material, in terms of progress, and it is bringing progress in our society, that is the only belief worth keeping as truth. What's the consequence? What is the cash value of your belief? Act as if what you do makes a difference, and it does. This is uh, this is a person who's known as the father of psychology of America, and I think it truly represents what America used to stand for, or possibly still does. The pragmatism is his theory of pragmatism. It is the inheritance of America. It is the psychology of America. It is the optimistic approach to life. And this shift in our emotional responses to situations because of shift in belief system will be the most material manifestation which will come forth in the first 4 weeks of this eclipse. It will be the most tangible outcome, in my view, which will come out as a part of this eclipse. You'll see yourself becoming a very different person who reacts to situation in a very different way, and that belief system, that way of emotionally reacting differently to situation, shifts the outcome of this entire year coming forward in front of us. This eclipse, as I mentioned, has two polarities. It has a polarity to itself. There's the ambitious side and there's another side. William Blake again said that we should go to heaven for form and hell for energy. There are two stars that are sitting as part of this eclipse. One is the good cop, one is the bad cop. Castor and Pollux, the Apollo and the Hercules significator. One knows how to do things in the right way, with the right reasoning, the intellect, the whole using the tact, using strategy, and the other who's immortal, who believes he is immortal, who's unbeatable, who's a boxer, who has a brute way of making things happen. There are two stars which are part of us, the alternative view. The one which is the intellect, the one that is the supreme skilled person, and the other one where the pain, the anger, the trial has created brute energy within us. And as William Blake said, we should go to heaven for form, we should go to intellect for form, and hell for energy. So, the emotional hell that many of us might have been through, the emotional purge that comes, the wave that comes, using that for energy and marrying the two is what these two gods of Sparta, which are the stars that are involved in this eclipse, they signify. They teach us to marry two completely polar opposite sides of ourselves and create something fabulous out of that, which gives us the power, the horsepower to sort of carry forth for the next 6 months, to create and forge and give everything to make this ambitious part true, to make this ambitious part reality. And history is written with it. History is written in the year that Saturn and Pluto are together. History is written in the year when three synods, three external planets, social planets, they come together. Saturn and Pluto will be together, and then Pluto and Jupiter will be together in the middle of the year, and in the end of the year, Saturn and Jupiter will be together. The way the resources are used, how we create material abundance for us, that shifts and gets launched at the speed that we have not seen before. And immense amount of information comes through in the next 4 weeks for that. Right on 12th or 13th of January, Sun is meeting Mercury, and also Sun and Mercury are meeting Pluto and Saturn. This is intense communication, uncovering of secrets, mysteries are resolved. There's huge amount of information and guidance that is coming through, and we we get this wake up, for example, to stand up and be counted in our own life. changing the course of things, because some of the thing will not go as planned. Because when Sun and Pluto come together and Mercury and Pluto come together, there are things that we did not see before. And the same theme is highlighted because Mercury is becoming full. Not sorry, the Mercury is becoming full. So there are things that we did not see before that come to light right now. So it's where the structure of a new life is unveiled. But what is the fun if there are not a few surprises? And the Cancer energy asks us to stay fluid and use this ambition, the anger, any emotion we feel to make a new way, to make a new path, to sort of use this to the tide. If it comes out in a different, the physical manifestation, you'll have so much intensity to yourself in the next 4 weeks. If something is not working, you will make a path for it, you will make a way for it. So that's what I have as a part of this eclipse. Wherever Cancer is in your chart, that of course becomes the theme for this eclipse as a part of the what is coming to light, what is the outcome that is coming. We'll cover that in the second part of the video. I hope you have a great year ahead.